tell everybody hi? Nigel, tell everybody hi. Say hello. Look, hello. Hey, hi, hello, welcome, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. Here's my co-host, Nigel, who is sassy, unruly, and tries to do what he wants, but I try to keep him in line. Welcome to another episode of Book CommuniTEA, where I try to keep you abreast of the goings-on and shenanigans in the bookish community. I am once again out of breath, even though I didn't just go up the stairs. What is this? So obviously this is a different setup. I'm on my couch. I have not a lot of energy today. I'm sorry if the sound, I feel like maybe this wasn't a great idea because it's an open area. So I hope the sound is good. I feel like I hear it echoing, but I just feel like I hear myself echoing, but this is all I can muster. My energy and like my drive to do things is so low. Like I have all these things I want to do, and then I'm like, I'll do it the next day, and then I don't do it, and then I keep putting it off, and it's not helpful, but I just can't. I can't be bothered, and it sucks. So this is all I got for you today. Sorry, this background is less than stunning, and then Nigel laid down. Like I'm trying to put him in videos for y'all, but he's such a diva, and he's like, well, if I don't want to be in it, I don't want to be in it. But he's right there. Hopefully he'll make a premiere, a cameo later in the video. But before we get into the mess, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Surfshark. Surfshark is a virtual private network, or a VPN, and VPNs can be used for a multitude of reasons, but the most common reason people tend to get a VPN is so that they can access content from other countries. So, of course, I live in Sicily. I don't have access normally to HBO Max or Hulu, but with a VPN, I'm able to access those platforms in America. Or if you're in America or in the UK, you can use a VPN to do the same thing, watch different Netflix, like all of those things. But they do more than that. They do protect your devices. If you're using public Wi-Fi, it protects your device that you're using. Like there's a multitude of reasons to get a VPN, a lot of security reasons, but also if you want to watch different content. You get one account and you can put it on unlimited devices, which I think is amazing. And since you're one of my followers, if you use my code, which is just my last name, Owens, O-W-E-N-S, you get 3 months of Surfshark for free and then 83% off. Like, does that make any sense? You get 83% off the normal cost of Surfshark, which is not a lot of money, and then 3 months for free. It's a really good deal, so you should check that out. I have the link listed down below, but thank you again to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. So per usual, the bookish community is not okay, but I'm really concerned for Romancelandia because they are unwell. Something is going on. Something's in the romance book, something's in the water. Romancelandia? I'm concerned. So in this video, I was thinking about doing like kind of the setup where you were watching my screen, and then again, I didn't feel like going upstairs. So I'm just gonna kind of go through things and put some things up on the screen. Some things might not be on the screen. And basically just summarize what I know of all these topics, some more than others. And I will have links to any information listed down below. Now, some of these topics, since they are romance heavy, I am going to send you to Izzy. Her channel is Happy For Now. She does like a Romancelandia wrap up that's kind of like this. And she is definitely, she's gonna give you a better rundown, especially on one of these topics that is just so complex. I know the basics about it. So I'm sorry if this isn't super in-depth, but you know, battery is low. So first, to recap, and I'll try not to spend too much time on this one, but I might. And so the news about Brandon Sanderson. So if you saw my video, then you have an idea that went on. I'll have that linked, but also the reaction I got to do with Elle on her channel, Elliot Brooks. And then also I discussed it on Bethany's channel with some other lovely ladies. So I'll have all of that linked down below. Also, Hillary from Bookborn also did a video talking about like her opinions on what Sanderson's announcement has to do with publishing. So I'll have all those linked because I feel like we have similar thoughts, but it's just interesting to see other people talk about it. So for those who don't know, Brandon Sanderson, a very, very popular fantasy author, announced last week that he dealt with the lack of travel and being home more during the pandemic The way he dealt with it was writing more books. So he secretly wrote 4 books and one that's gonna be turned into a graphic novel, so 5 books. And he did it in a way where he like teased a video on his channel. I was like, I have important news that's gonna affect my career. And then he had a video that came out the next day where he was talking about that and, you know, talking about going through how he was reacting to the pandemic, being home more because he usually travels a lot. And then he announced the books, and the way he's doing it is he's not traditionally publishing them with Tor, who he publishes all of his adult work through. He is going to publish them himself, essentially, and he is dubbing 2023 the year of Sanderson. So 4 of the books, his idea and plan is for them to come out quarterly. So you get the books quarterly, and he was like, I thought it would be a good idea for people, they could read it together like a book club if you want to be spoiled, because there is no title, no plot summary, no art for the books. It is just that he wrote 4 sci-fi fantasy books. And then, and that's all we got. He is doing like little teasers, I think, on his website or maybe on his YouTube, like maybe reading through some of the book, but I don't want to be spoiled for any of it. I just want to get the book and then go from there. And so you could just do the books. You could get the ebook, you could get hardcover, you could do audiobook and hardcover. There's various packages. But then he also is doing like basically swag boxes. So his own kind of subscription box, but it's only for next year. And you had the option to get that as well. So there was, I think the lowest price was maybe $40 and then up to even like $500 if you wanted to do the whole thing and all of that. So and then he was doing this via Kickstarter, which he announced in the video. So we're reacting to this video live and we're like, oh my gosh, the Kickstarter. It is like shooting up as we're looking at it. Maybe like 10 minutes into the video, the Kickstarter is always already at like thousands of dollars. The goal for the Kickstarter was $1 million. And with under the hour, it surpassed that goal. It has now become like the fastest Kickstarter ever, I think. And as of right now, it is at $25,094,242. Update as the day I'm editing this, it is $26,705,702. It keeps growing. Isn't that bonkers? I don't know, there's no words for it. $25 million. I saw a couple authors talk about this on Twitter, and Katie Robert, who is a romance author, has done this before, did a Kickstarter for some like special editions of her books. So it can be a really cool thing because I think it's just exciting to have something like a surprise, to know what's coming but not know exactly what it is from an author that you like. So it would be really cool if other authors, if they had this ability to do it. But as we discussed in the live, that maybe certain people have different contracts. Brandon has a really unique relationship with his publisher. And so sometimes people can't self-publish things if they have a contract with a publisher. So there's just a lot of different things that go into it. And I don't think there's any need to like panic or worry that this is gonna change publishing. I do hope it encourages publishers themselves to maybe get more innovative or think outside of the way they're marketing now. So I hope just in general, it inspires people to try different things, whether that is an independent, self-published author or a big publisher. I think those were the main things. And like I said, I didn't want to talk about it too long because I have a bunch of videos and I've already talked about it. That's all about that. I'm excited, so. Okay, I think that was more like mostly positive. Obviously there was like people's thoughts about it, but then we get into like, it just goes downhill from here. Unfortunately, so the author John Boyne, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, who wrote The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, is writing a sequel that's called All the Broken Places, which apparently is narrated by Bruno's older sister, Gretel, as she's age 91 and she looks back on a life scarred by guilt and grief. So if you don't know The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which I have read, it's a book. It was also adapted into a movie, and it follows a family who was living in, were they in Berlin, in Germany, a German family. And the father gets, I think he like becomes something high up basically under Hitler, and they have to move to Poland, basically outside of Auschwitz. I'm sorry, I can never pronounce that correctly. And from their window, like Bruno can see basically the barbed wired fence. And he also, like, they have house servants who come in who are prisoners, Jewish people in the camp, and then he goes outside and basically makes a friend with a boy in the striped pajamas who is a prisoner in this camp. And it is a terrible book. Before I even knew the general thoughts around it, just reading it, I was like, this is a terrible book. And my issues with the book, which is the thing, is that it really, Bruno is 9, but it tries to write the story as if children and just German people in general were so ignorant to what was going on. And like, no. And there's a lot of issues with it. So where's the tweet? We understand these concerns and we already address inaccuracies in some books published. However, the boy in the striped pajamas should be avoided by anyone who studies or teaches about the history of the Holocaust. And there is an article, which of course I'll link down below, but they have, you know, different reasons talking about Bruno, who's the main character. And his characterization perpetuates the belief that most German civilians were ignorant of what was happening around them. In fact, the general public in Germany and in occupied Europe were well aware that Jewish people were being persecuted, forced to emigrate, and eventually deported. So that was literally my problem. I'm like, I'm sorry, they had Hitler youth programs. I do not believe that he was just so clueless to what was going on. The little boy who was in the camp, his name is Shmuel. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. And they're saying that his characterization portrays Jewish victims as passive and unresisting. However, Jewish resistance did exist both in and outside the concentration and death camps. And also saying his story is historically inaccurate. For readers of the book, it's clear that the camp is probably Auschwitz, concentration camp, and Bruno calls it Auschwitz. And if a young boy like Shmuel had entered Auschwitz, then it's very likely he would have been sent straight to the gas chambers on arrival, just like the majority of children who arrived there. And so the ending, spoiler alert, and, you know, content warning, death. The ending of the book is that somehow Bruno basically, like, I don't know if he like digs a hole or something, he gets inside to the camp because he's like trying to be friends with him and he doesn't want to leave his friend. And then they get taken to the gas chambers and they both die. That's the ending. And so they're saying the ending leaves many readers upset. Bruno digs a tunnel under the wire, crawls into the camp, then he and Shmuel go looking for his father, Shmuel's missing father. They're swept up into a group of prisoners being taken to the gas chamber where they're all murdered. The emotional focus of the story is on Bruno's family and their distress as they realize what happened to their son. The reader's attention remains with the experience of the concentration camp commandant and his wife whose son has been killed, and that is what is portrayed as a tragic accident. So the focus remains on Bruno's family. Like, yes, that's so tragic, but if you're going to tell a story about the Holocaust, how are you not focusing on the true victims, which are the Jewish people? So anyway, he's publishing a second book, and it is being published by Doubleday UK and Penguin Random House September 15th. And, you know, I try not to tell people not to read things here. You can make your choice. Maybe you're gonna read it, but it's just like when Holocaust museums are telling you not to read it. So there's that. It's just really interesting what major publishers decide they want to publish. It's just interesting. So just a heads up about that book. Use that information wisely. That's all I'm gonna say. So I don't have all the screenshots on this. I was seeing people and like subtweets talking about it and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I have a screenshot at least of part of the thread. So an author tweeted, I don't typically tweet about agents' rejections, as I also don't tweet about requests, but I received a rejection on a full today for my queer roller derby young adult because the agent told me he discovered I am married to a man. And here we are again. This has happened so many times with authors of various like sexual orientations where they write a book with queer characters and the agents assume they are not queer themselves and are like, well, why should we publish this? We've talked about it many times on this channel with the whole own voices debacle, and it's just sickening. And the like biphobia or bi-erasure that a lot of people experience if they're married to a person of the, you know, a different gender. It's just like, how are we not learning? I thought everyone said they were listening and learning, and obviously you haven't been doing either of those, because this is not new. This keeps happening. And it's, of course, you want stories about, you want people to write stories with experiences they're familiar with. Obviously, you want a romance between a Black couple being written by a Black couple. Of course, you want a queer story written by a queer person. But because so many people are processing things or not realizing, you know, maybe they're queer or different identities, things change as you grow and learn and meet new people and experience new things. Life is complicated. So you just can't assume that somebody is a certain way and that their experience doesn't match what's in the book. Or maybe this is their exploration by writing this story. And not to say that those stories sometimes, you know, may not be the best or be harmful, and that's fine. You can read that story and maybe that's a critique. Like, I don't feel like this is a great representation of this experience, but we just really have to stop with the, hey, what are you? And what is in this? And they don't match? Okay, no book deal. It's just, that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. It's sickening. So let's stop that. Okay, and back to another book that doesn't sound great. So this author is Sandra Newman, who I have never heard of, and has a new book. I don't see any pronouns. I'm just say they. They have a new book, and here's the tweets. My new book, everyone with a Y chromosome suddenly mysteriously disappears. In the months that follow, the world gets better, safer, kinder, more egalitarian. But the book is about women who can't let go of the men they've lost and devote their lives to getting them back. I found it hard to be a pain in the ass about pushing my books in the past, but I strongly feel that pretty much everyone will be into this book, and it could be important to someone's life. It's wild. It's a wild, fun read, but also has a certain brain reorganizing madness to it. It's not out till June, but pre-ordering a book is the absolute nicest thing you can do for a writer. Pre-orders have a magical effect on a book's success. If you pre-order my book, I will love you and defend you against all enemies. I will wash your car. I owe you a drink, etc. So again, the book is about a world that is better because all of the men, essentially, everyone with a Y chromosome disappears. So it becomes kinder, safer, more egalitarian. And obviously the issue here is this book, well, XX and XY, right? Like whatever, we have male and female, what you're assigned at birth. I will say before I talk any more about this that I am not well versed in like different language, and that's on me. That's things I have to learn. You know, I support whatever people's choice. I just haven't learned all of the, you know, terminology to, I feel like, present a well-stated argument. I don't know. But the common thread I've seen, the issue with this, I mean, it just doesn't sound good, but is about trans people, because if you're erasing everyone with the XY, there are trans women or non-binary people, and it's just saying that getting rid of all of them just because they have this chromosome now makes the world a safer, better place. Just it does. That's just not how it works. And so this is a new book, right? It's not out yet. And people were, you know, over that synopsis. And the title is called The Men. I don't know if I said that. But then also this author, I saw shared by a few others on Twitter, a previous book that they wrote. And it's called Ice Cream Star. Or in their previous book, they seem to like the idea of like wiping out a group of people. So their previous book was basically what happens if the government got so powerful that all the bad stuff that's already happening also happened to white people. You've taken it to its extreme that the white people have been wiped out in the USA. What do you want people to take away from the book in terms of the current situation with regards to race? And Sandra says, well, there are two answers to that question. As for people of color are concerned, I just hope they like the book. I mean, I hope Black readers can get some pleasure from a fictional America where the norm is to be Black and everyone's Black and it isn't even an issue, regardless of the fact that the book was written by a white person. But do I have anything to tell them about the current situation with regards to race? I highly doubt it. So that already just does not sound great, because that's not, That's not what we're asking. It was never like, we just want to wipe you all off the planet. It was like, no, but just can we all be treated as well as white people? Like, no one is saying, it just seems like a really weird premise. And then there's more in the interview. It gets worse. How did you go about creating the voice of Ice Cream Star and the groups who live in Massa? I know I did not just read that. And how did you just sustain that for an entire novel? I didn't read this beforehand, and wow. I didn't initially intend to write the book in an invented patois, but when I started to write the book, it had to be set in a future world, and I wanted the voice to feel absolutely real. I've always been the kind of writer and reader who needs the story to be completely convincing. When I was writing the book in standard English, I just couldn't believe in it. 100 years had passed. Obviously, English had changed in that time, especially if there are no schools, no media, and language was only spoken by children and teenagers. So from there, the language ended up being informed by African American English. I've given a lot of reasons for this, but the bottom line is that it is my favorite English and probably objectively the best English going. It also gave me not only a model for innovation in the vocabulary, but a starting point for innovation in grammar. And finally, most people are familiar with it to some degree, so readers have a starting point for understanding it. Once I had the flavor of African American speech in the language, and don't get me wrong, it's not African American vernacular English as spoken now, but it's obviously strongly influenced by it, it felt like the characters should be Black. Or put another way, why shouldn't they be Black? I mean, it became a choice to make them anything but Black. Of course, there are screenshots of some of the book. The bitch opens the book calling her Black characters tar-colored, thieving wild animals. So the cover, and obviously you'll see it on the screen, but this says, "My trouble, it's beginning, Tober 2. Oh my God, y'all, I need a drink. My name be Ice Cream, 15 star. My brother be Driver, 18 star. And my ghost brother Mo Jaquez, 5 star, dead when I myself was only 6 years old. Still my heart is rain for him, my brother dead of Posey's little." What? My mother and my grands and my great grands been single pure. Our people be Atari night sort, and we skinny and long. My brother Driver climb a tree with only hands because our bones so light, our muscles 40 strong. We feel like a dragonfly over water, we fight like 10 guns, and we be bailed to sea. Other children go deranged and unpredictable for our love. We singles be a wandering sort. We never grown nothing from anything, never had no tato patch nor cornfield. Be thieves and brave to hunt. A single hungry even when he eat, even when he rich. He still want to grab and rob. He hungry for something he ain't never seen nor thought of. We was so proud, we was ridiculous as wild animals, but we was bellin' strong. What is this? This doesn't, that makes me think of the TikTok.
Okay. That shit was ass.
Like, this is terrible. Someone had, let's see, another screenshot of some in the book, and it's just awful. The new king, never fearing much, no show, is even going back to Massa. Sandra Newman. And I say this with no respect. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. Absolutely not. You're gonna name a location Massa, and all of it is so bad. You're gonna invent your own patois. You're gonna create your own language based off of African American English. It's your favorite. You love the flavor. And then you're like,
well, of course they have to be Black. They can't be anything but Black. Duh. And I just hope you Blacks like it.
oh my God. Who published that? See, this is what I'm like when people, anytime I like in the comments or in a live stream, if people are like feeling discouraged not to write their book because of publishing, write it, okay? Write it. I'm sure most of y'all, this would be better than this. Write your book. Absolutely straight to jail. If I was in America, I would hit 911 right now. His name is Ice. I've never heard of this person before, but I want to fight. I would like to fight. This is awful. Now, 2 romance thingies. One is about this book that's called A Touch of Fate by Cora Riley. And this is the blurb. And people were very upset about this because it hasn't been released yet. Since a car accident as a child, Emma Mancini is bound to a wheelchair. In a society that values its women for their beauty, she's seen as damaged and undesirable. When one of the most sought-after bachelors of the Chicago outfit agrees to marry her, she knows a deal between their families must be the reason. Her suspicions are confirmed when Samuel treats their bond as a tiresome duty. Samuel Mione is crippled by guilt and bitterness. As a future underboss of the Chicago outfit, he doesn't have time to take care of anyone, much less open up to them emotionally. For him, the bond to a woman like Emma means another unwanted obligation. But Emma isn't someone who resigns herself to fate. She overcomes greater obstacles than a cold husband and is determined to show him that she isn't the burden he fears. The tweet I saw about this verse was saying, please change your blurb. Not only do you have slurs in it, but the entire plot of your book is about a disabled person having to prove that they're not a burden. We are not burdens. This isn't okay. Listen to disabled voices speaking up. So just to be clear, when I say we need more disability rep in romance, this isn't what I have in mind. We deserve so much better. Cora Riley, this isn't okay. What you're doing is hurtful and harmful. It's not just the blurb. The whole premise is ableist. And so I guess she changed her mind and is no longer publishing it. So she published a statement, or it might be, I don't know if she published it on her Instagram, but I have screenshots about it. And I saw people saying, wow, this is one of the most like self-centered apologies. But Cora said, I'm heartbroken that I have to disappoint all the people who were so excited for their story, especially my readers with disabilities or who have family members with disabilities, but there's no other way. Also, I want to make one thing clear, because a couple comments suggested I, like some other authors, would jump on some kind of bandwagon by using diverse characters to follow some kind of trend. The harsh truth is that unfortunately writing diverse still means a huge financial risk. Yes, I said it because it's the truth. I don't like it, but it's still the truth. Books with diverse characters more often than not sell less copies than books without them. So for an author to write a diverse character is a matter of the heart or because they want to be a part of the change. I don't care about trends. I've had my mafia world and most of the stories in it planned for years, as you can see by how interlinked all my books are. Emma and Samuel's story has existed for a long time. It's not to please anyone or to jump on a trend. I too would have taken a financial risk by publishing it. I would have taken that risk gladly, and now I accept a huge financial cut by not publishing it, which means no book for me in a while because I'm a slow writer. That is also the reality, and I am the only breadwinner in our family because my husband will be home to help me with my job and Antonia from April on. Again, I do it gladly. So please don't accuse an author of trying to jump on some kind of bandwagon. I'm a person too. Many people have told me to go ahead with publishing the book anyway, but I can't do this. I don't want to hurt anyone, and I just don't have the emotional strength right now to prove with my book that Emma's story isn't what some people think it is. I feel exhausted and emotionally fragile in a way I can't describe and have been feeling that way for a while. I need to step back. I need to breathe. I need a break. I don't know for how long, but I'll try to return as soon as possible. I'm going to focus on Antonia for now and try to refocus on my next release, By Virtue I Fall. I'll do my very best to publish it as soon as possible, but I fear you'll have to wait until June for a book from me. Again, I'm sorry. Heart, heart. And then she posted on Instagram, social media break. Okay, I think I got some things confused because I was going back through my screenshots and I just had a tweet that said this is Cora's official statement. So that's what I just read. But then I have something else that was actually what she posted on Instagram under the picture that says social media break. But I only have part of it because it says continued in the comments. And I remember when I was looking through the comments, like Instagram doesn't pin your, like, if you continue your description in the comments, so like I couldn't find it without sifting through thousands of messages, and now the comments are off on the post. So anyway, I'm going to read you the Instagram post that's under the social media break. I hope this makes sense. I'm sorry I'm a mess. As many of you have guessed, I decided to cancel the release of A Touch of Fate. It's not just postponed, but it won't be published at all. I'm really sorry. The mafia world I created makes it impossible for me to write the book in a way that guarantees I don't offend a number of people, as I realized reading some comments of my cover reveal post. I can't change the story that I have for Emma
and Samuel. Changing it wouldn't work in the context of my world, nor do I want to change the core of their story, because I love Emma's strength in it. She challenges all the horrid words and prejudices people throw at her. Emma doesn't accept them. She challenges the people around her to see her as what she is, a wonderful woman. She never feels bound to her wheelchair, as mentioned several times in the book. She doesn't see herself as a burden. She knows better, and so do the people who know her, but she faces discrimination. I purposely included this kind of discrimination because I know many people face it every day, and I find it despicable. I wanted to show how Emma deals with it, how she fights it tooth and nail, and prevails. I'm sorry if I hurt or offended anyone. Please know that sensitivity readers would have read the book. I still believe this story is uplifting, that it's a beautiful love story. Emma is a queen. She saves Samuel, not the other way around, because she doesn't need saving. Please know this, but I just don't want to risk publishing it to show the discrimination that Emma faces and that many people in real life face. I will have to use words that the community regards as ableist and hurtful. I can't sugarcoat it if I want to show the harsh reality of her life. Knowing this, I can't and won't publish the book. Again, I'm so sorry. Trust me, no one's more sorry than I am. I spent the last 3 months working on it with all my heart. I so desperately wanted to tell Emma's story. I had a very good cry over it, actually two, one with my sick, feverish baby in my lap, and one on a walk with my dog, where strangers looked at me as if I'd gone crazy. I sometimes feel it at the moment, to be honest. And then it was continued, but I don't have the continued part. Enjoy this chaotic background, Nigel, but... So, obviously there was a lot of ableist language, and it seemed like the whole plot of the book just didn't seem great, and then her apology was really self-centered, like, I took all this risk, and I'm gonna lose money, and I put all this time. Like, I understand putting time into something and then not being able to publish it. That's really frustrating, but it's like, I don't know, maybe you should have had sensitivity readers before you put out the blurb. I don't know. But anyway, I don't have the date of when she posted on Instagram that she was no longer publishing the book. But then she made another post on Instagram and said that she is going to publish the book. So yeah, let's look at that. But also, let's just look at Nigel for a few moments, because isn't he so precious? He loves rocks, and he also loves, I don't know what he just ate. He also, when he's playing with anything, because he does not play fetch well, he will stand by it or sit and he'll wait for you. And then once you come close enough, he's going to act a fool. So let's see if he does that. Stinky! He's waiting for me to try to get the rock. Watch. You hear that noise? I don't want your rock. I just want to pop in briefly to thank you for your many messages. My inbox exploded with encouragement and support and love. The photo shows you how I spend most of my days at the moment. Reading your many messages was really wonderful. I also got so many messages from people with disabilities or from people with family members who are in a wheelchair who asked me to reconsider. Especially those messages gave me the courage to think about A Touch of Fate again. At the current time, I can't finish it. I was 2/3 of the way through. But eventually, with some time to clear my head, I'll return to it and give Emma the story she deserves. Whenever that time is, the book will get a new cover, the discreet cover I had planned for, and the blurb will be rewritten as well. The core story won't change, rest assured. This is the story of the woman who doesn't need saving and the man who does. But with the help of several sensitivity readers, I'll try to make sure this book is a wonderful experience for as many people as possible. Until then, I'm going to work on Anna's book to give that one to you as soon as possible. I know it's difficult to switch gears and focus on something new now, but I think it's the only good option right now. One more thing. I know many of you are angry right now, but please, please don't lash out at others. I don't want any witch hunts on my behalf. The world is brutal enough right now. Let's try to make the book world a safe place again. That's funny. Okay, another cute picture as background. This is super old when Nigel was little, but I would love to know your thoughts, because I did see some people on Twitter who said they identified as disabled and they didn't think it was offensive. And then, of course, she said that she had people reach out to her who have disabled family members or are disabled themselves who didn't take offense. So I don't know. Maybe sensitivity readers will help. So there's that. But yeah, I would like to know your thoughts down below.
Okay, my battery did die and I just had to change it, but for this last thing. So this is the one I know I know like the bones. I don't have the meat. So again, a romance. There is a voice actor named Eros, or that's what he goes by, who has recorded audiobooks, but also does a lot of just like voice acting stories on Patreon. And I think he has a pretty successful Patreon. A lot of people pay a lot of money, up to like $100 a month, or I don't know, maybe more, to listen to him and interact with him more exclusively, obviously on Patreon. Nigel. Thank you. And I think he also posts on TikTok. There's another author, Dana Islay, I don't know if I'm saying that correct, indie author, who has used Eros to narrate her audiobooks. But recently it came out that her books may be plagiarized. So like I said, he also does voice acting of stories on his Patreon, and Dana was a patron of his. I think he has his friend, I think her name is Jacqueline, who writes stories for him, or like scripts, things he reads on his Patreon. And then some of those things have shown up in Dana's stories, so it's looking very familiar, very sus. Then also now, Eros is saying that Dana used his own life experiences of sexual assault as backstory for a character in her book. So I saw this tweet. The people want to see you and you keep laying down. Thank you. Why are you so sleepy? Why are you so sleepy? What did you do today? Why are you so tired? You haven't gotten your beauty rest? Did you not sleep good last night? I know this is a good location, but I don't feel like getting up. So this is from Eros. And so content warning, talking about CSA, so childhood assault. He says, and to find out a couple of days ago that Dana Islay herself, a longtime fan and happily paying patron of mine, has actually straight up stolen my public story of childhood trauma and subsequent wasted life, and feeling like a failure as the backstory for her serial killer, which was already a plot she had completely stolen from us, and in her book she glorified it repeatedly in vivid detail. She made it seem like the male child actually enjoyed it. So the following is a quote from the book. My demon has always been the most eager out of both of us. The first time I felt him was after my mother had raped me for the first time. There had been so many other inappropriate things before then, but I guess her swallowing my half-mast cock was the final nail in the coffin. I can still remember it all so vividly, the way she got pissed because she had to thumb me in. The anger in her eyes didn't dim until I became fully hard within her, and she rode me to her climax. She took so much from me that day, but gave me my demon, and I guess I should be thankful for that in some way. At least I hadn't been alone in this pitiful excuse of a life not well lived. I know dark romance exists, but So they are going back and forth on social media. I think there was one author, Willow something, who was taking up for Dana and saying there wasn't proof of plagiarism. And then they have, I guess, Jacqueline and Eros been sharing stuff on social media showing that there is proof. And I think even a romance award, was it the Swoonies or something, detract because Dana's book had won an award, so they took that award away. It's a lot, but again, that's just the very bare bones of the situation. Check out Izzy's video.
Okay, two things. A lot of things may be missing because some stuff's on his Patreon. I'm not a patron. Videos that were posted on TikTok, some of them have been taken down. So definitely check out Izzy's video because she has links in her description to all of the things. And then also I wanted to acknowledge this tweet that said the way so many people have responded to that man's trauma being used for a book would be night and day. different if a man had done that to a woman, but yes, believe all victims. Going further than how initially fucked it is to do something like this and think it's acceptable, why is a quote as fucking vile as this not being torn apart? Almost 3,000 reviews. I should be thankful I was as a kid. I don't. Yeah, even for dark romance, that seems like a lot. But it is a great point that a lot of people don't want to believe him, seemingly because he's a man. It's a lot.
To get the full rundown, but overall it sounds really awful and disgusting if what she has done is true, because ew. So I know that wasn't a super thorough or whatever episode, but I just can't keep up. There's so much. I haven't even checked my email, so if you email me something, so sorry. I might do a separate episode just checking my email and going through it and responding to those like on video. Oh my gosh, Nigel, not on camera. But lots of things going on, lots of important conversations that are happening and that we need to have. And the internet is just a difficult place to have nuanced conversations like we need to, because most things aren't black and white. There are some that are black and white, but most things aren't. And I don't know where as an online community we can learn to have more nuanced conversations, but just know that Twitter usually is not it. So anyway, that is that. That's all I got for you. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Again, check that link out down below. Shout out to all of you for watching and supporting me. I appreciate you so much. So does Nigel, right? But give this video a thumbs up, subscribe. Of course, check out the description. It's gonna have all the links to all of the information, ways to support my channel, ways where to find me on the internet. And I think that's it. So hope you stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.